Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have, obviously, Brooke back. Welcome.
Thank you. I surprise showed up here. Apparently, had a little miscommunication yesterday, and he texted me to let me know that we were ready. And I was like, "Well, I'm in your driveway." And he's like, "What?" A little miscommunication. It happens. Hey, that's part of life. You have to go with the flow when those miscommunications happen.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But anyway, we have a really cool, and honestly, Brooke's probably going to take the lead on this guy because she has been getting bombarded with information this week. And it's really important to share with you guys because her message was awesome. And obviously, the above think that your messages are amazing. So we definitely need to get all that out.
Yes, I'm going to do my best. My brain has been so scrambled this week, but in like the best possible way ever. And so I'm going to do my best to try to keep some order to this podcast. If I astray, I am so sorry. There might just be things that have to come out, and hopefully will resonate with someone who's listening that we were made to have that connection.
Yeah. And so, and to let everybody know, the topics, and let me know if I'm right or wrong. I think I have it right. But both Brooke and I were getting these crazy messages about renewing and rejuvenating or regenerating. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, renewing and regenerating. And the way in which we were getting these messages was off the charts. I know Brooke has been channeling a lot this week, which is phenomenal, and getting information that was pretty impressive. And one night I went to sleep. I was able to fall asleep finally. And in the middle of the night, my phone somehow came up with this word. It was as if somebody actually spoke to my phone and put a word into it that said regenerate. And when I told Brooke,
So when he told me, I thought, how we kind of said before, our messages are, we feel like we get like the same stuff. So when he first tells me regenerate, I'm like, oh, so cool. It happened again. I got renew. And so at that time, I was thinking of renew and regenerate as the same thing. And me driving here today, I kept feeling led to drive, and now I know why, because I had a whole different set of messages that had to do with renew and regenerate being the same thing. And on the way here, I found out that it's actually the exact opposite, that renew is the beginning of it, and regenerate is the end of that journey in between.
Mm-hmm.
So
really, really cool. So when I got my word, regenerate, in the middle of the night, it was saying to subject to spiritual growth, which was absolutely amazing. But when Brooke brought that understanding up to me today, it's profound in the sense that it was definitely not a way that I thought about it. You know, the differences in which we were getting at these words and how and what they mean to all of us. So, and that's a great understanding if I could just...
And it wasn't what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Until on the way here.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. So it just speaks to how we're getting all this information. There's so many different ways, like we channel it, but then I would say that would be a download, and this is not the topic that I want to get on, but obviously just to bring it to your guys' attention that so many different ways to get this information
and why I'll bring it right to this. I want to start off this message with the most important thing right now in the times we're in is be patient with yourself and be patient with others, and treat yourself with loving care and treat others with loving care, because there is a lot going on right now that's coming up for people. There's a deep healing happening right now, and healing is painful. I don't think I ever even had that full realization before today on how painful healing is. I was going to jump right into something else, but I'm going to reel myself back and start from the beginning. And I'm going to take you from renew to regenerate. So, renew. When I look back at the last podcast, and I watch back to see mainly points that Chris was making that I may have, because of the information I had, that I may have disregarded in some way. Because it's really hard when you have two people that both have a lot of information to share, that you want to get out because we know it's love and we're trying to put that out there. So it's very hard for two people with so much information. So I listened back to see what I may have disregarded. And two big things that he kept mentioning that have to do with renewing ourselves was one that he brought up was different modalities. When we get caught in our same exact belief system that we just get stuck and stagnant in, we really stop growing. Once we think we've already kind of got it figured out and we know what's going on, you're stopping yourself from growing. And so when you go outside of your box and you pick different things, like Chris was mentioning, get yourself involved with something. For me, Reiki was a huge part of my awakening. Just having to challenge some of my core beliefs that I have lived with my whole entire life, I had to challenge those. And there was just an awakening by simply doing that. When you learn about healing, that is a modality that brings so much. And I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it.
Do
I
it.
grew up a Christian, and I grew up with every belief, while there was always times that I felt that there was something that they weren't getting, but it was still my core belief. So going into Reiki, so renewing yourself is scary. And I guess that's why I'm telling this part, because it's scary. For me to think I was getting involved in something that challenged my belief system, I wanted to back out so bad. Every bit of me was like, maybe, this isn't right for you. I want to back out. I want to back out. It's too scary. I went ahead with it. And I came to so many new understandings. And even while they were great understandings, it still scared me because it was pulling me so far from what I believed. The beautiful part about it all was once I got the higher understanding, it came full circle back to everything that I originally believed, only with more understanding of it. So a big thing in renewing is don't be afraid to step out of that box and challenge things, because I promise you that core belief that's in your heart, it's there, and you will be led back, but only with a higher understanding. Another big thing to renew yourself is Chris kept mentioning, and I kind of kept breezing past it, mindfulness. And that right now, that is like the hottest term, whether it's in schools. I mean, it is in schools and it's everywhere right now. But we keep throwing that term around as if everybody automatically understands exactly what mindfulness is. Mm-hmm. And we don't. We're like, okay, it's about being mindful of, what we say to somebody is about being mindful. No, it is. It's that, but it's so much more. It's about being present in every single moment. It's about not being in something that happened even 5 minutes ago or 15 years ago. It's about not being in something that's going to happen 5 minutes from now, an hour from now, later in the day, whether it's what you're going to make for dinner or looking into the future of far distant future. It's about neither one of those. It's about learning to keep yourself present in the very moment that you're in. And I found it takes practice. And when I started practicing it, I found life by the time I didn't perfect it, I don't know that we ever perfect some things, but by the time I started really understanding it, I found myself in so many more beautiful moments, to where things that I would have so much anxiety and stress about, I found myself, say I was at a neighbor's house and I'm outside talking. And then if I kept my head going, oh, I need to get inside, I need to make dinner, I need to make this, that important moment that's happening right there may not happen. But if I'm like, I'm in this moment right now with this neighbor that we don't get to talk a lot, and I'm having a human contact moment, there should be nothing more important than this moment I'm in right now. Mm-hmm. And the rest of my life, the more mindful I am and the more in the moment I am, everything else started flowing. It didn't matter if I had a checklist of 50 things to do, everything would automatically just flow.
Yeah. And excuse me, you can practice this so not easily, but doing small things like washing the dishes. When you wash it, pay attention to the smell. Pay attention to how the soap feels on your hand. When you're in a conversation with someone, listening to every word or as much as you can of that conversation and not being drifted off. And when you notice your mind drift off in the conversation, just bring it back. That is absolutely what it is.
But when you pull yourself back to the moment, I promise you, when you practice this, life gets beautiful real fast.
Yes.
I mean, it really does. So in the renewal process, I do believe these are very key points and to even begin to renew your mind. And I keep saying out of the box. I feel like this podcast should have came with a disclaimer that the more you renew yourself and the more you question yourself, the more awake you become.
Yep.
And awakening in itself is a lot. Right now, we need each other, and people need us more than ever, because right now people are going through a renewing process.
Yep.
And it can be heavy. Whether the outside, the turnout is beautiful, but we are in times where it can seem really heavy. Whether you're in the stage of questioning your beliefs, whether you're in the stage of painful healing, there's some heavy stuff going on right now.
Yes, exactly right. And you know what's very interesting is, so I do have, a group that I'm with, a few women who are in this group and some friends that are all in this, going along the same process that we are, this awakening process. What is so fascinating is they are also getting the same messages of the reboot, of a renew, regenerate.
Yes.
They are all getting, this is not just Brooke and I. I mean, Brooke and I, yes, for this podcast, but all of them are getting the exact same message.
Yes, and I've experienced it, and I'm trying to get through everything I want to say about renew before I get to the regenerate part, and that's why
Yes.
I'm kind of getting quiet to make sure that I'm there. So renewing, and I talk about challenging your belief systems. If there is, I don't know what you believe, and it doesn't matter because your belief is your belief.
Yep.
But I can tell you, if there is anything in your belief system that is of fear, you had better question it 10 times more than you. All there is love. And I will still, to this day, to keep my mind moving forward, question my own beliefs.
Absolutely.
The only thing that makes me confident that I am there or getting there, and I think we're always getting there, is that there is nothing but love in my belief system. So I believe that I've gotten somewhere. I've gotten somewhere that I've come to a point of love. There is no fear. There is no judgment. That's not to say my little ego doesn't rear its ugly head from time to time, but I've definitely come to a place of love.
Yeah, and that's a huge statement, because when you think about it, how often do we feel an opportunity or we feel a push in a particular direction, and then what stops us? Fear and
Always.
confusion, which is not of the light.
No.
You notice the feeling, which is being the mindful. You question your belief systems, and this is just a natural progression. You question, you're mindful of the questioning, then you're mindful of the nudge or the gentle push in a certain direction, and then you go with that. Obviously, it's not a one-time push or nudge; it's a continued push or nudge, and that's what you need to focus on, is that continuation, because obviously one moment in one day is not going to tell you to change your life. You got to continue to feel that.
Right. So the next thing, so I'm trying to stick on renew. I'm trying not to lose my track because I want to hit regenerate so hard right now. My last thing with renewing is out of the box. Like, do things that help you continue to grow. This podcast for me, I may have mentioned it before, is so out of the box for me. I'm very good with one-on-one conversations. I'm very good with one-on-one conversations. And, but the thought of, like, even at work, if I had to get on stage and present like an award to the kids, I ran off one time. I had a coworker who she was trying to include me in it, and she wanted me to join her on stage to help give the certificates to these children. And the thought of going on stage in front of all these kids, I ended up I said, I'm so sorry. And I ran out the back door until the ceremony was over. This is not comfortable for me to talk in front of people. I guess what helps is that I can't see you. But just doing this podcast was so out of the box for me that it propelled my mind and my thoughts so much farther. So renewing for each of us can be so different. I had a friend who had something she wanted me to watch. There was information she wanted to share with me. And this particular friend, and I said to her, I said, so funny. She spent so long inside herself. And she's just now discovering information. And so now that she's discovering information, she's having this massive growth because she's always stayed inside. And I told her, I was like, it's the opposite for me. I spent so much time with outside information that I'm finally going inside, and now I'm growing so much from that. And so it's as easy out of the box. If you're somebody who stays inside all day because you have chores to do and there's things you have to get done, make yourself stay outside all day. Believe me, there's plenty to do out there, whether it's hosing off the deck or washing the swing set or planting something. There's endless supply of things to do out there. And if nothing else, there's always a sky and there's always clouds. There's something to do. But whatever it is, do the opposite of what you do. You know, I had a huge awakening, and then I got into meditation, and you should always meditate whenever you have a chance. I got into meditation, and I hit a certain point. I hit a plateau, and then I found something else outside of my box, which propelled me forward. So challenge everything, challenge yourself, and just keep moving forward. But I would say get out of your box. The more uncomfortable you are with it, the more uncomfortable you feel about it, the more I think you should do it.
Actually, you know what? That's interesting because I do read a lot about that where people do say that exactly what you're saying. So it is fascinating to actually see that full circle. And you think about it, the questioning of, you know, your belief system, the mindfulness of it, the mindfulness of the push. And you can kind of see where the alignment begins to happen. You know, you are mindful of everything that's going on, and then it puts you to where you need to be to get onto that lazy river, which is basically being mindful and allowing these opportunities to present themselves and then take you to where you're supposed to go. Because they have said that before. The lazy river is important, and not to actually think about where you're supposed to go, but be one of alignment and allow the alignment to take you to where you're supposed to go. Because they know your soul's purpose. They know where you're supposed to go. You allow them to help you get there.
Right.
Through that alignment.
Now, I feel like I'm going to jump right into the rejuvenate part. Although it overlaps. It definitely overlaps. Because I feel that the renew is the start of it and the regenerate is the end. But there's so much in between that is so overlapping. And it's very overwhelming I keep saying we're in these times. And it's so overwhelming right now for people because they're doing both. They're renewing and the regeneration is coming at the same time. So something else that helped pull this podcast together today, that I threw every bit of notes that I thought this was going to be about out the window just on the way here and from this morning. So part of renewing, leading us up to the regeneration, like I said, is healing. Right now, there is being light shed on the darkness, and there's a lot being pulled up in people. I woke up this morning to a message from one of my, we have those people that are in our life that no matter if we see them every day or if we go 5 years, even 10 years, they are so in our heart and we have so much for that person. So this is one of my very best friends that I grew up with, sent me a message this morning, and she is going through a healing process right now. And through her healing, a lot of pain and hurt are coming up. And until this morning, I did not know that I ever caused her. I'm going to cry. I think tears are good. Don't ever hold back tears. Don't ever hold back tears. That is such a huge part of renewing and regenerating. That is your pain coming out. Let it come. Don't ever stop tears. She let me know that as a child I'd hurt her, and I didn't know. I did not know I hurt her. This is not a conscious memory that I have, although she's not making it up. I clearly had hurt her at one time. And so I responded to her with what I hope was received with love. You wanted to make sure you don't make it about yourself. When somebody comes to you with a pain they have, and if you were a part of that pain and they're expressing this to you, it's not about you. I know it's a hard thing. Your ego wants to jump in. It's not about you. It's about that other person, and it's about that other person healing. And as hard as it may be for you, you have to meet it with love. Now, this wasn't hard for me. Her saying this to me was not hard for me at all. All I want is to be a part of her healing and take responsibility for the part that I played in it, and I just want to be a part of her healing. Let's see, I was going somewhere else. Oh, and then the interesting part, when I finished with that conversation, my very next phone call was someone who has been hurt. And so all of this regeneration is coming to me, and there's so much going on right now that, like I said in the beginning, you have to be so patient right now, and you have to come to a place with love with every single encounter you're going to have, because the encounters are going to happen, because now is the time. You are going to be confronted, and you may have somebody that you need to confront, and deal with it with love. Both ways, deal with it with love, because this is a painful time for a lot of people. But the good news is once we're able to deal with these, there's a term that's being used a lot right now, and they're calling it a dark night of the soul. Yep. And luckily, I feel like I had mine. I had mine earlier in life, and now I'm grateful that it happened then, because I couldn't help be the part that I'm playing now if it was now. But I'm noticing a lot of people going through this dark night of the soul, and all that are things that have been repressed inside of us that don't belong there. That has to come out. There's no room for darkness anymore. We have to make room for the light. So right now the darkness is being shed, and it looks really ugly for some people.
Yeah, it's a lot of confusion. The dark night of the soul is something that I definitely had on the agenda to communicate about. And it's a lot of confusion. It's basically what we are talking about now. It is a questioning of everything that you thought was real in the past and coming to terms with a new understanding. But that process is met with, during that healing process, you could be depressed, you could be, you're just overcome with a sense of sadness. And people experience a dark night of the soul for, some of them experience it for years, some of them experience for days, weeks. There's one woman I read that has dealt with that for 35 years. Mm-hmm. So there's no time frame here, this healing process. It takes time, and we have to go through it. It's something that you can't deny. It's part of this entire process. It's why we are here, to initiate that process. But the dark night of the soul is an interesting one, and don't get caught up in time frames and stuff like that. Just be in the moment and accept each moment as it is, as we discussed.
Yeah. And, it's referred to, I guess, the only human understanding for dark night of the soul would be dealing with what doctors would call depression, with what doctors would call anger issues, mm-hmm. And all of these things. I spent the first half of my life going with these terms the doctors would use. And, oh, man, if I told you I was depressed or I had anxiety and you tried to tell me it was anything but that clinical diagnosis I got, I'd be mad. I'd be like, I'm depressed. I am depressed. I have anxiety. I have anger issues. I held on to those things very tight. And because that's who I am. And if you don't love me for my anger and my depression, well, then I guess you just don't love me. I went through a long time with that. And I've come to a time to understand that what society or humanity or doctors, they can only do so much, and they have to put a name to things. Depression it's repressed. It's things that have happened throughout our life. Some of them we may remember to detail. Others we may not even know what is really deep down in us. and that is depression. Again, why mindfulness is so important.
Yeah. And when I say those terms, I apologize because I'm not saying them to label or identify.
Yeah.
I'm simply using them
So
to help
to
you guys
understand.
understand
Yeah.
exactly what we're talking about and can picture in your mind, what that type of feeling or
Yes.
emotion when it's generated could actually
Absolutely.
be compared
because
to.
it's the only way, because it's what we understand.
Yes.
It's the way we understand it. So again, getting out of the box is when you come to a different understanding of certain things.
Absolutely, because we look at depression and sadness and actually when I start working with people, I actually tell them to take a different approach to what you're feeling. Like just because you feel it doesn't mean that you have to identify as it. And it's literally one of the first things that I talk with people and say, hey, accept who you are and what you're feeling. Obviously, you want to question it, and if you can change it, you change it. But you don't have. It's not a fight or a struggle. Hey, I feel this way. That's okay. You can move and not necessarily be in alignment with that feeling. We've talked about the triangle before. We can cause separation between what we feel and what we do and say. And if whatever 2 or 3 portions of that triangle are getting the most energy is going to be in that way. So I might feel sad, but yet I'm speaking positively and I'm acting in a positive direction that are in contradiction to that feeling. The energy is going to start to move and shift in that positive direction. And that is absolutely something that we can begin to work with to put us into alignment. And hopefully that's just kind of what we're saying here with the mindfulness and being aware and then making this choice to separate that triangle into the other areas and allow that to be more positive and not necessarily run by the feeling or emotion that we're feeling at that moment or even over a course of time.
I'm actually going to keep beating the mindfulness horse right now, and I'm going to explain
It's an important one.
And I'm going to explain it to you the way I explain it to the kids at school. Hold on, I was prefacing this with something. There was something very important I was going to preface this with, on why it's so. Okay, I'll just go with my explanation of why it's so important. Oh, yay, it came. Okay, why it's so important. One of the main things that we are on earth to do is to learn to master our own energy and to learn to master energy in general. That is one of our main jobs. Mindfulness is the key to that. Mindfulness is the key.
Absolutely.
So I'll explain it to you like I explained to my kids. And I actually draw it on a whiteboard. I wish I had a whiteboard to draw this. So I draw it on a whiteboard, and I draw our body, and I fill it in with energy. And I go, this is us. And this is us when we have had a good night's sleep. We've, eaten breakfast. Things have gone great. We've had a great day. And all of our energy, our batteries are full. All this energy is here in us. Now, the very second, because 2 of the main things we all say that we deal with are anxiety and depression. So we have all this energy inside of us. We're feeling good. We're feeling great. Our brains are functioning. We're like, wow, I'm having a great brain day. I'm feeling like I'm on top of the world today. But then something sneaks up on us. It's maybe something that happened that morning. Maybe something that happened yesterday. And it could be as simple as, Mom yelled at me this morning, or I'm upset because I yelled at my kids and I'm thinking about that. Well, anything that happened before this very moment, right now, looking back, causes depression. That's depression. Looking back is depression. Anything that happens before this moment that we were not happy about or proud about, or that somebody hurt us and we haven't dealt with it, all of those things we look back on, that's depression. And the more we hold those things in, they have to eventually be let go. Now, the other thing, okay, so we have our little body, our little whiteboard, and the little body's all filled in with energy. So we start looking back, and I draw a little bubble outside, and I erase some of that energy inside of the body, and I put it back there in that bubble. You now have this beautiful energy that was in you, and you've now put some of it over there. And then you have the other thing we do. We look ahead. Well, that's anxiety. Whether we're looking at a minute from now, it's going to happen, or 5 minutes, or, oh my gosh, I have to get ready for this podcast. Oh my gosh, I have this going on. What am I going to make for dinner? I hope that, somebody's home on time. I hope kids, ball games, they have a ball game that night. Are they going to win? What's mom and dad making for dinner? Am I going to like what they're making for dinner? Am I even going to eat tonight? Looking ahead is what we know of as anxiety. So then I erase more inside of the body and I put it out in that bubble and I fill that in with that energy. So now if you're looking at that picture of the body, you're looking at very little energy left inside the body, but you're looking at a lot of energy that you just put back there in depression with anything that's happened before this present moment. And you're looking at all that energy that is put in that bubble with the anxiety. And just by simply stopping and breathing and being in the moment, you have the complete power to draw all of that back into yourself.
In a positive, light-filled way.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting, because when you were talking about that, how this journey started for me was I was going through a dark night of the soul kind of moment where I was, what you would say, depressed, very sad, and then I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. The bedroom light started to turn on, and started out once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, then every single day, and this happened for about 3 or 4 months, I think, from October to January. And I would talk to this light and go, why are you turning on? I know you're talking to me. What's your message? I would even keep, you guys know I was a ghost hunter. I would keep recorders by the light and say, throughout the night and listen to it and say, like, what are you trying to tell me? But I was going through a dark night of the soul moment that I didn't even realize at the time. And finally, when I figured it out, what that light meant was the light is inside of you. You are the light.
Yes.
And I did not, it took me 4 months to figure that out. But when I did, I said, okay, I am going to go find that light now. And when I said that to my light, and I know it sounds weird, I was talking to my light.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to go find you and I'm going to bring that light out. The light stopped turning on.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah.
And voila.
Yeah. You nailed it. You nailed it. That's all of us. Light is who we are. That is who we are. The darkness does not belong there.
Yeah. It's just what we focus on.
Yes.
But it's not what we are.
Yes.
Exactly.
We are, I keep saying these times, we are in times, and we are in times of a battle within ourselves.
Yep.
So all these modalities we gave you to help renew, to question things and to move forward, that's for you to notice. As much as I had to say, it's so weird how it's all just slowed completely down.
Yes.
And I thought I could fill up 5 podcasts with the information I had this week, and I probably could, but I think for a reason right now, they're slowing my brain down to get to a point.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, you are making so much sense throughout this, and even though it's slowed, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys can relate to it. And I know you can because we get so much feedback about it. But yeah, it's awesome.
So these times, the struggle that we're all having right now is that opposing forces always exist. And within each of us, there is light and there is dark. When it's referred to through other belief systems of this battle that is going to happen, that battle is here. And that battle is inside of you. And right now, the light is here shedding the light on that darkness. And it is up to us right now to choose the light over the darkness. It's not easy. It sounds easy. I'm saying, oh, yay, choose the light, choose the light. We thought that would always be an easy decision. We always thought that would be, well, of course that's easy. Of course I'm going to choose the light. But to battle that darkness inside of you and be able to bring it to the surface and the strength it takes to release something that we've been holding on to for so long, something that may have even served a purpose in our life for us at times, and that we have to let go. Even though it's darkness, it's still a part of us, and it's a part of us that we have to let go, but it's not easy.
Mm-hmm. While Brooke was just talking about that, an image kept coming into my mind, which was of when you are healing, we focus, like when Brooke's talking about being of the light and finding that in you, that we are one with that light. So often when we heal, we focus on that feeling of, well, I feel the sadness and I don't understand it, and I feel the anxiety and I don't understand it. But that's because so much focus is put onto that negative aspect of it all. When we go to counselors and psychologists and all, they're all like, oh, what's the problem? The problem, rather than what is it that makes you happy? What is the positive aspect of in your life? And start to focus on that and start to build that base of positivity and healing. Healing, as Brooke is saying, is not easy, but when our focus is on healing. Yes, there's so much of a higher vibrational aspect to that mindset rather than what is the problem. Focus on what is I am healing and I am growing.
When I hear of people who have been in therapy for 5 years, I'm like, have you changed your therapist? Have you changed your therapist? Because if you're telling me that you've been going to the same therapist for 5 years and you are still, having this, they are not helping you heal, because what they're doing in these sessions, and now I'm not putting a label on that, because I have come to find out that there are so many people, whether it is in that very professional medical setting or whether it's in the holistic, I am finding more and more coming out in this very professional medical setting that are understanding this now.
Yes.
But I feel like maybe more in the past that they always focused on the problem. When you're there, they focus on the problem.
Yep.
So I would say, if by seeing a therapist after a period of time and you're still focusing on that same problem, and we haven't started with even the smallest bit of how we can start healing from that and letting go, please go see somebody else. Please. Be your own guru if you have to.
Yeah. Well, society in society as a whole focuses on the problem. I mean, I'm in school now, and they just keep hitting me with, this is the problem, this is the problem. Like, focus on the love. Focus on the people. On the love. Yes. Focus on the people that are bringing us together. It doesn't make any sense to keep putting the energy into that lower vibrational mindset. It just grow and the focus on that positive stuff. And it will take you to where you need to go.
Yeah, and that's the matrix that we are in has been really good at wanting to keep these low vibrational thoughts for us and keep us in this lower vibration of, these things. And breaking out of that is part of questioning everything. If it does not have to do with love and healing, get out.
Yep.
Get out.
Well, we've said before, the ego mind, that there are opposing forces, as you have indicated, and the universal laws of energy have also said and indicate that there are opposing forces. Well, when they both have consciousness that are trying to either suppress you or to make you vibrate higher, which one are you going to choose?
Yes.
And we choose that by our focus and by what we are, putting that triangular aspect to things. What are we putting our energy into? Are we allowing the thoughts and the emotions to drive us, or are we making these conscious mindfulness moments to be of positivity and love and putting the action and the word into that? And therefore, those two will ultimately change those feelings. That those feelings that we have that might be driving you right now, they will ultimately change when we make these decisions to be mindful and then choose to speak positively and move in a positive direction. There is much change that will happen.
Yes. So we've given you all these tools of renewing. And once the process is complete, once you have found these things and dug them up and got rid of them and dealt with them and faced them without a whole lot of judgment, and once you've released them, the regeneration part comes. And the regeneration is beautiful, because you are going to find yourself being the person that you were truly born to be. You are going to find yourself completely in the light. Yep. And that is the regeneration part, is finding yourself in the light.
Absolutely.
And like I said, as much as I thought I had to say,
That's
it.
powerful. That is really powerful. And it's in your heart too. Like they keep saying, open up the heart. That's where the love is. You go, mine's up here, heart. That's where the light is in you. So go into the heart. And my light, it stopped going off. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go find that love in me, that light. It stopped coming on. And it was the heart that I really focused a lot of light and attention on, because that there's so much love there. We just got to kind of shed those layers that are hiding it from us to allow them to come to the forefront. Powerful stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So then you want to go ahead and channel now? Because I'm good.
Absolutely.
All
I mean,
right.
I did not think I was going to be this clear, and I just it's done. It's over. That's what I had.
That's a beautiful thing. And thank you so much for it, because that's powerful. And thank you guys so much for listening. Appreciate you all so much. Definitely. And I do hear Enoch as I close my eyes. So just to give you guys a real quick heads up, because I do get some feedback about this, like how do you channel, how do you hear? I don't hear them audibly. What I do is they speak to me telepathically, and I can feel the energy now. I can feel them telepathically, and what happens is they actually use my mind as a database of words, and they try to use my mind's words to start to filter words into me. And all I can do, all that happens is I actually begin to feel these words start to shape and shift into sentences. And I've simply trained my mouth and my mind to be as one. So as soon as they come in, the words come out. As soon as the words come into my mind, or energy field, my mouth speaks them. And actually, that's how they have told me channeling happens. So just to give you a heads up, I know some people have asked me about that I never addressed on here. But I do hear them. So Enoch speaking, my children, grateful we are, forcefully coming in through Chris's energetic field to communicate with you all the beauty that has been transpired here today. For you are all created in God's light, in God's mind, consciousness level of healing energy that is potential for you all. You all possess the opportunity of healing. I'm so sorry I cut him off because, oh my gosh, I channeled a message on Friday that was so, I told Brooke about this message that came in on Friday from Kuan Yin and Enoch about healing and how you guys all have that healing ability, and that's where he's going right now. I'm sorry, I just got so excited. I apologize. It happens. I love their communication, and it just made me so excited. We apologize for his interruption. However, it is important for us to reiterate the aspect of healing that you all, human society, do possess, beings. You are all light energy that have the ability to heal yourselves. And it is an aspect of focus. Yes, it is an aspect of choice. Yes, and mindfulness. Of course, this is all absolute truth. It is then from there the desire by you. And desire is important to understand. For the desire that it is that you have and carry is what sets the intent. Your desire to heal, your desire to be one with the light are so important in this aspect. It is what allows us to step forward in you. Your desire and then action in that intent will allow us to step forward in your energetic field to become one with your energy and allow and assist with the healing aspects of your soul, mind, body. And this is so important in addition to the messages that have been revealed here today. Your desire and your influence over this desire to become one with the healing aspects. Yes, there are aspects of healing that are, or it can be considered negative in a sense that you must feel the energy again, but what is occurring is a different mindset, a different understanding, and we have discussed before the reveal. The reveal is this new mindset that you carry with you, that you are of the light, and it is this reveal, this understanding that will allow you to take this feeling once again that is being felt to a new level, to a new understanding of purpose in healing, because that is what is happening. There is purpose in the healing that is coming to all of you. purpose and the mindset that you carry with the healing. And that is where your focus and attention must be, and mindfulness must be put on to the purpose, to understanding the new mindset that is being revealed to you at this moment. For you are powerful beings, and when the mind is occupying much of your focus, which is the ego self, there is much negativity, frustration, sadness, which we encourage you not to be. When you are one in the heart, you understand the mindset of love and accessing and formatting, being one with the healing process. You understand that this is a matter of truth. You understand that this is a matter of healing that is absolutely needed. You do not or are not dismayed at the sense of healing. You are understanding that it is needed in order for your growth to occur. And that is the point that we would like to get across for you today. Intend and desire to be one with the light, one with the love. From there, the mindfulness, the focus, and the speech are all and truly imperative, needed for the action to be put into this desire. And then from there, you carry the mindset of necessity of feeling the emotions once again with the new mindset of you are becoming one with love and healing, one with light. And with this new mindset, you begin to understand differently that you are not what you feel. You are of the light and always of the light. And when you carry that mindset with you of the light, you are of love, and you love every aspect of yourself and those around you, those you interact with this world. And this is where the power is, and this is where you, my children, are all so powerful and can change the world. But it starts with you, and that is important, imperative to understand. It is not on others to begin the healing process of yourself. It is not in your judgments. It is not in your frustration with others. It is within your mind, within your heart. It is within your acknowledgement that you are love and light, that so much is felt, so much is changed. It is that healing process within yourself that ripples throughout this world, and we encourage it greatly. For it is within you that so many will see the healing process and the beauty that comes from it, that so much more can occur. It is within that energy that we encourage you to begin the healing process. And we love you all so very much and are so grateful for the opportunity of this message to be stepped forward, for we are working diligently within Brooke and Christopher as this podcast develops even more so. For there are so many more aspects to this ascension awakening process that we will begin to bring forward to you through the both of these individuals, loving souls, for care they do much about all of you as we do, and we are grateful for it. Thank you much, and enjoy your evening, day. We love you. Enoch speaking.
There's more?
What?
Just
No,
when
like
I,
that.
just when I think that I know everything, there's more. And that is when you're renewing. Every time you get to think that this is it, I think I've got it, there's always more. We're never done learning. We're never done knowing.
Never done learning is so key. So
We
many
are
people.
never done.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
So all they kept, I kept spacing off, and all I kept hearing, because I always say it, Dory from Little Nemo. I always just keep swimming, just keep swimming. But right now I was hearing, just keep shedding, just keep shedding, just keep shedding.
Wow.
So just keep shedding. We are gonna get there, but be there for the people in pain right now. And it may look ugly. You may see somebody you love so much, and you may be seeing a side of them that you just maybe scares you, maybe you think it's disgusting. It's be there for them. There's so much painful healing happening right now. Be there for each other.
How do you get any more beautiful than that? That's an awesome message, completely. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I want to make sure I give you every opportunity though, because
I think that's it. Just
right.
keep shedding.
Cool. Well, there's more to come, and we will definitely be sharing that with you guys. So thank you so much. I appreciate that you are allowing us to bring this to you, and we appreciate their messages, and I appreciate Brooke, and
I appreciate you.
always, definitely. We love you guys so much, and
Yes.
thank you all so much. Goodbye.